Hey everyone, welcome to Wellbeing Weekly. I'm your host Kiara, and I am here today to talk to you about vision. So, the reason I wanted to talk about this topic specifically is because a couple days ago I was having some random thoughts and I started thinking about Walt Disney. And I don't know if you've all have ever been to Disney World or Disneyland, and I live really close to Disney World. I'm about maybe an hour, maybe 2.5 hours away in Orlando. But I haven't been yet to Walt Disney World. I plan to go, but I have been to Disneyland. And so the thing is, I wanted to just really think about, like, investigate what led Walt Disney to having the audacity to, first of all, have this vision, and then what was it within him that led him to following through on that vision and creating this amazing place. So before we get started on that topic, though, I just wanted to do a quick minute of mindfulness. So let's quiet down. You can meditate, you can close your eyes, you can keep them open, you can just do some deep breathing. So we're going to just take a minute to do that. Okay, so that was about a minute. I hope you all had some, quiet time. So the reason I like to start with the mindful minute meditation or, just mindfulness quiet time is because we have so much noise in this world every single day, every single moment practically, that our bodies have actually started to become, for a lot of us, maybe not everyone, but for a lot of us, our bodies start to become accustomed to the constant chaos and the anxiety and the tension that gets stored in our bodies. It can manifest as headaches. It can result in lower back pain, upper back pain, soreness in your shoulders. And so something that I just really am adamant about is just taking care of yourself in all ways possible. And so something that's really often overlooked is just how do you feel in your body. And so taking the time to do the mindfulness check-in is just really it's like a little wake up call, just to do a quick scan to see, where am I feeling tension, where am I feeling out of sorts, where am I feeling uncomfortable, and then making a mindful, like, actual intention to do something about that and just release it. So I'm going to be a fan of meditation forever and mindfulness, and I hope you find some use out of it as well. But anyways, we're going to get back into the topic about vision. So like I was saying, I got really obsessed about Walt Disney's creation of Disney, the Disney World universe. And so I started looking into it, and I actually found this article where this woman was describing the whole process. And the people that were around him at that time in the 50s, there was actually a quote that I wrote down because I thought this was really, really interesting. So Walt Disney had this vision for Disneyland, and he got this vision actually because he had taken his kids to a few parks in the area, and they lived in Southern California. And at that time, he was very disappointed with the lack of quality entertainment that was available to his children. And so he decided to just do something about it. And that's exactly what he did. So he got the idea of Disneyland because he felt like something should be built. And he wanted some kind of a family park where children and the families and the parents could all have fun together. So that was the beginning of the vision. And then from the time the park broke ground to the time they actually opened took just 1 year. And so that was really mind-boggling. But the thing is, he had such a strong determination and commitment to that vision that the time frame might have looked short, like just 1 year, but that vision didn't just start the moment they broke ground. It started the moment he had that initial desire. And the interesting thing about that desire is it didn't come about until he actually had the experience of what he didn't like. And then that's a really, really powerful thing to really stop and think about. Like, a lot of times we go through life and we say, oh man, this sucks. Like, I really can't stand this part of my life, whether it's my job or it's my relationship or it's my neighbors or my neighborhood or just anything. Like, we have a lot of things that we just don't feel satisfied with, and that's valid. That's really that's real. Like we're going to have a lot of crazy things going on in life. But the interesting thing about people like Walt and innovators and entrepreneurs like yourself, is that you see a problem, and rather than staying stuck in the problem, you start looking towards the solutions. Like what are the ways we can address this? How can we find this? How can we find a cure, or innovate something that would be a solution for people? Because you know that it would benefit you, but if it's going to benefit you, it's highly likely that it's going to benefit others in the future as well. And so this was a really interesting thing that biographer of Walt Disney had said. It said that the vision of Disneyland had actually become so consuming that it became the only thing that mattered to him. And I think that is a very key piece, because when you have a vision, there's a saying, I don't know who actually originally said this, so I don't know who to give it credit to, but there's a saying that I've heard that says a fuzzy target doesn't get hit. And that's so true, because you might have a general idea of, the fact that you want improvement, but if you don't know specifically what you want, then you're not going to get it. And so that's the thing about life, is it's so easy to complain, and we all go through it. We go through the complaints, but the moment you know what you don't want, it gets a little bit easier to figure out what you do want. And you might not know right away, but this is what sets you apart from being a defaulter, which is somebody who just kind of goes through life and has things thrown at you, and you're just like, oh, I'm just constantly putting out fires, and I'm just living it day by day, and you don't really have any focus or commitment to anything. That's a defaulter. But what you really want to be is a designer. And that's somebody who says, okay, look, I see this problem, but I want to figure out how I can make this better. I want to design my future. I want to design something better that we haven't had before. Or maybe if we do have it, I want to improve upon it. And that's why I love entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs and anybody who's just an innovator, really, because they have the awareness of the problem, but rather than getting bogged down by the problem or overwhelmed by it or consumed by it, and allowing it to stop them and going into a pit of despair or the cycle of doom, they stop and say, okay, I acknowledge that, but what can we do to fix it? And that's something that Walt Disney found. He found that the entertainment arena was not very great in Southern California at that time. And so rather than just go home and cry to his wife about it, or go to his friends and just complain, he actually decided to do something about it. And it was really cool that he had the resources to do it. He actually mortgaged his house. He got loans. He found a way. But the interesting thing about that park was it didn't come without its problems when it first opened. So we might think, now Disneyland is one of the happiest places on earth. I love it. It's so much fun to be there, and I'm just a big kid when I go there, and I just love fantasy. I love all that stuff, and it's such a like a big cultural behemoth. There's Disneylands in every single country. Like every continent has a Disneyland, I believe. And the thing about it is it's touched so many millions, maybe even billions of lives, and everyone knows Mickey Mouse and the characters, and it's just so iconic. But the thing about Disneyland is it didn't come without its problems. So in the article, it said that on opening day, ladies' heels sank into still hot asphalt on Main Street, rides broke down, concessions ran out of food and drink, and a gas leak was discovered in Fantasyland, which caused the whole land to close down. And it said opening day actually became known as Black Sunday because of all of its problems. And despite critical reviews from print media, Walt encouraged his crews to handle the problems. He held media dinners to amend relations with the press, and within a few weeks, problems had been wrinkled out, and Disneyland's crowds were far exceeding estimates. And this really stood out to me, because what this says is that just like in life, we're going to hit hurdles. We're going to get discouraged. We're going to find, there's 1,000,001 reasons about that are going to tell you can't do it. Just stop, quit while you're ahead, give up. No one's done it. It's not worth it. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. And that's the self-doubt. That's those things that can stop you But when you have that vision, that's what matters, because the vision has so much more power. And I don't want you to just take my word for it. This is something that is, it's a principle that's been tested through eons, decades, and centuries. And there's actually a scripture that I had heard yesterday at church that I really want to share with you. It's Habakkuk 2 verses 2 through 3. And it says, "And the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end, it will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come, it will not delay." And there's quite a bit to unpack there, but I want to just break this down a little bit because there's some really key components to that scripture. So the first thing is this part right here, which says write the vision and make it plain. So what that is saying is there's power in the written word. And I did some research and I found out that when you actually write down your goals, you're 1.2 to 1.4 times more likely to achieve them. And that's just from writing them down. You don't even have to do anything with your mindset. That's just simply the act of writing down your goals makes you that much more likely to achieve them. And so the other thing is making it plain. That means there's power in your clarity. So when you have like I said, the fuzzy target doesn't get hit, but when you're clear, when you have the vision and it's so crystal clear, it's like you can describe the way it looks, the way it's going to taste, the way it's going to feel, the way it's going to smell, how it's going to, how it's going to look to you. When you can describe it in all those different details using all your five senses, that supercharges your vision as well. And the other thing is making it plain, and so that he may run who reads it. That means there's power in the focus. So when someone's running towards something, they're not just kind of tiptoeing or walking casually. No, when you're running towards it, you have a lot of fire. That's you have your target is set and you know exactly where to go and what to do, and you're going to just run towards it. And that's what I think Walt Disney had. He's not alive for me to talk to him right now, but I can really think that, for him to have that vision and for it to be such a big undertaking, he had to have been running towards it in his mind and realizing this is exactly what I want. I want to create a park that's the happiest place on earth, and I want my children and other families to enjoy this vision. And so the other part of the scripture is, for still the vision awaits its appointed time. And so what this means to me is that there's power in divine timing. And so sometimes we might think, oh man, it's not happening soon enough. That thing that I want, that business I want to create, those clients that I want to have, those the children I might want to have, the relationship I want, it's not happening yet. And I'm getting discouraged because I can't take it anymore. I'm so sick of being single. I'm so sick of being childless, or I'm so sick of not having that thing, that new car, that new job. It can be tough. Yeah, I totally get it. But there's so much power in the divine timing, and it's going to happen. And it might not happen when you think it's going to happen, but when it does happen, it'll be the right time. So the thing about that park is it took a whole year for them to finish. But even when they opened after that year, there were still some issues. So the thing is, we have to be a little bit patient because there's an unfolding process that comes along with the realization of your dream. So it's going to be, you have this dream and the seed is first planted in your mind or in your conscious. And then after you have that dream planted, then you take the steps and the seed will begin to grow. And you don't get frustrated when the seed is just barely starting to bud because there's more to it. And when it starts to fully form, then you can really see, wow, this was worth it. This is so amazing. And so that's the divine timing is everything, because you have the vision, and as you go the course, it says in the scripture, it says it hastens to the end and it will not lie. And this is the part where it's you actually will see that there's power in the momentum, and the momentum begins to increase, and then it becomes this thing where you're I don't even feel like I'm efforting, I'm not even really trying. It's just coming through me, and there's something propelling me, and that's spirit backing you. That's God telling you this is your path, this is your vision is being supported by the universe, and you're going to get through it because it will not lie. And so I love the ending of that scripture where it says, if it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come and it will not delay. And so these are some things that I want you all to just really think about and maybe journal on or meditate to. There's a couple of questions I have written down. It's, first of all, just take some time to think about what really fulfills you. So a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week actually, I love to bake. And so last week I made chocolate chip raisin cookies, and baking is kind of like therapy for me. And it's such a satisfying process from the start to the finish. Like, it can be a little bit messy, but I just love baking. And so the thing is, it was such a satisfying experience to bake those cookies and then also, of course, eat them. But the thing is that baking the cookies, that only lasts about 30 minutes. But when you have like a life vision, that's something that's almost, it's bigger than you. It's not just about, oh, can I enjoy this and maybe my family. It's about, how do I want to really impact the world? And so that's, again, why I love entrepreneurs, because you don't just see a problem and say, okay, how can I make money? Some people might, but I love the entrepreneurs who love to just who love to serve, and they see a bigger purpose in this world, like a bigger need, and they seek to fulfill that need that others have. And so there's a quote from Abraham Hicks that I love too. And Abraham Hicks said, satisfaction only comes from one place, which is having a desire and moving in the direction of it. So I want you all to think about, what is your life vision? And if you don't actually know what your life vision is, that's okay, because I don't think it doesn't just come overnight. It's not necessarily something that's easy, but when you do find that, and if you do have that life vision, but you're afraid or scared, or you're worried about the timing, or you're worried about how are you going to get these pieces to come together, just think back to that scripture in Habakkuk 2 verse 2 through 3. Think about that scripture. Think about the story of Walt Disney. Think about those who had the audacity, not just Walt, but so many other examples of people who had the audacity to dream big and carry through the vision. And the really cool thing about all of this is that when you have a really big vision, you don't have to feel alone, because there is divinity in this. And so you are made in the image of God. We all are sons and daughters of God. And if you have a vision that's supported by the universe, supported by God, then it will not lie and it will not delay. Just be patient, work on your self-doubt, and you will get whatever it is you're seeking. So I love you all, and I will see you next week for another Wellbeing Weekly. Bye.